But anyway, Josh, Metro are on Rishi's case for doing what we've all done, let's be honest, after 5 minutes in a black cab.
Mate, I do this all the time, mate. All the time.
Yeah. Right as rain.
Yeah, Rishi Sunak ridiculed for using geezer accent during a visit to Essex. And...
yeah, having a bubble.
Come on, like, we all do it. We're in a taxi, we've had a pint, we're like, all right, mate, what time is the shift finishing?
Partly because it's actually a very human characteristic and not a bad one to try and sort of communicate in British.
Mirroring, isn't it?
But also, I think with Cockney or whatever accent you want to call that, it's quite fun to speak like that.
Yeah.
It's quite enjoy. You feel yourself freeing up a bit.
That's the only accent I can do proper, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's one thing to go Yorkshire and start falling in with that, then I always do feel a fraud. And I do it. I hear myself. If you go for a pint after a show and 4 or 5, locals, and pretty soon you start hearing yourself,
By the end of an Edinburgh run, I've got an American accent.
That would be a good joke in itself. You should do that. That's excellent. Now, I feel that Rishi is a slightly anxious, nervous performer still. I do think you've got to recognise by his own standards, or what the stall is set out, he's done very well in his time in office so far. He's steadied and stabilised tremendously well. I think for me, his weakest card, his weakest suit is that kind of front-facing at the podium with an audience. Yeah. He comes across a bit like a wannabe Tony Blair.
And interestingly, you'd never get like Boris Johnson doing the geezer accent thing. He would he leans the other way into the posh idiot.
Yes.
And unapologetic about it.
That's a really interesting point, because as stand-up comedians, we do generally fall into one or two camps, don't we? Either authentic selves or characters. Al Murray, pub landlord, actually a modern history graduate from Oxford University. I think I've always thought it's quite interesting that the character act actually knows who he is more. It's easier to stand your ground, And so, for instance, if you do a bit of banter with an audience as a character act, it's quite easy to come up with the perfect comeback, because you just think, what would the pub landlord say to that?
You can get away with more as a character.
Yeah, I mean, my character on stage is very much an idiot. And then it's not a character.
The mask eats into the face.